What the fuck is wrong with you?
I just saved my daughter from your psychopathic son.
Alessandro, please wake up! Don't leave me! If my baby boy dies, I will raise hell upon this land, that is a promise.
I followed Rosalind out of the hospital because I know she was hurting, and as much as she won't admit it, she needed someone by her side. We all know Alessandro, and it was clear that she would become feral if he was to die. I don't understand what's going on, but I could tell that Mr. Black had something to do with it, based on the fact that Rosalind just beat the crap out of him and was about to snap his neck. Rosalind, I called out, but she didn't answer. She just kept on walking. Rose, wait, please, I tried again. Go back inside, Jen, and leave me alone, she replied without stopping. I ran towards her to catch up, and we walked in silence after that. We soon arrived at the lake behind the pack house, and we sat under the biggest tree we could find. I know there's nothing I can say to make you feel better, Rose, but I just want you to know that no matter what, I'm always here for you, I told her truthfully. She didn't answer, and I knew why the moment I looked at her. Tears were streaming down her face like a waterfall. She started sobbing, and I quickly pulled her into a hug. What am I gonna do if he dies? Jen, I can't lose him. He's all I've got, she cried into my shoulder. Come on, Rose, you know Alessandro is stronger than that. He's not gonna let some little coma get the best of him, I said, trying to cheer her up. You don't understand, Jen. The reason Alessandro is in a coma is because of all the pain he took from Isabel. I felt it, and that amount of pain would have killed her within half an hour if Alessandro hadn't taken it away when he did. But now all that pain is inside his body and him. And his wolf is trying to recuperate from it, and that's why he's in a coma. At least that's my theory, but what I can't understand is why the Blacks would allow doctors to inject wolfsbane into Isabel, she replied. What do you mean, inject Isabel with wolfsbane? I asked. When a wolf shifts, they feel pain because their bones break and rearrange themselves. But no matter what kind of sickness Isabel has, she should have shifted from the age of 12. And she shouldn't have been feeling so much pain. So I asked the doctor to test Isabel's blood, and he found a high amount of wolfsbane in it, which was what prevented her wolf from coming out. But it seemed she had stopped taking the injections for some time now, and that's what caused her to shift, she informed me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, so all along the medicine the doctors were giving Isabel was wolfsbane. I wonder if they were trying to kill her wolf. I turned around to ask Rosalind another question, but she was sound asleep on my shoulder. I guess all that crying wore her out. Babe, I called out Michael through our mind link. Genevieve, where are you guys? Is Rosalind okay? He asked. You could hear the worry in his voice. Yeah, she's good, but she's asleep. We're at the lake. Could you come and bring her back to her room, please? Okay, I'll be there in a minute, he replied before cutting the link. Around 3 minutes later, he arrived. Any more news on Alessandro? I asked as he picked up Rosalind. No, nothing yet. The doctor said he'd call us when there's any change, he replied. And how's Mr. Black? He scoffed at my question. Doctors put him on bed rest for a couple of days. His wounds are healing, but not as fast as they normally would. It seems Rosalind did a number on him. She should have snapped his neck, he answered, venom lacing his words. We soon reached the pack house, and everyone was staring at the sleeping Rosalind in Michael's arms. What happened to her? Is she okay? Jermaine asked As he ran up to us, she's fine. She's only sleeping. I told him as Michael walked past us to the stairs. What the hell happened to my beautiful baby girl? I heard someone yell from the top of the stairs. I ran towards the sound to find Steven, standing at the top of the stairs looking at Rosalind and shaking in anger. She's fine, Dad. She's only sleeping. Michael told him reassuringly. Okay. And where is Alessandro? I want to talk to him. At the mention of Alessandro, Michael's face fell. He's at the PAC hospital, Dad. He's in a coma, Michael told his father with his head hung low. He's what? Steven's voice bellowed. Dad, calm down. It's a long story, and I'll explain everything. But I need to put Rosalind on the bed so she can rest, Michael told his father. They both walked to Rosalind's room.
My dad and I walked into the room Rosalind and Alessandro shared. I placed her on her bed, took off her shoes, then pull up the covers over her. Okay, I can't wait any longer. Tell me what happened to my baby girl. And my grandson, Dad demanded impatiently. Fine, I'll tell you, but first of all, are you even supposed to be out of bed? I asked. I am fine, I've been moving around better for the past couple of days, but I was in my room when my wolf told me something was wrong. He wasn't sure what it was, but his instinct told him something was up, and he has pretty good instincts. So I decided to see what was happening, he replied. Okay, I see. Well, I am glad you're doing better, Dad. I honestly thought I was gonna lose you, I say sadly. You don't have to worry about losing me, son. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. Besides, you haven't given me any grandkids yet. So I am not going anywhere, he replied, giving me a hug. Now tell me what happened. I sighed, then told him everything that happened. Based on what Isabel told us, from Alessandro taking away her pain to him flatlining, and Rosalind almost killing Mr. Black. To say Dad was furious was the understatement of a century. I had to hold him down a couple of times throughout my explanation, so he wouldn't go up to the Alpha Suite to hospitalize Mr. Black again. After an hour of getting him to calm down, we went to the kitchen, and I made us something to eat, then sent him back to his room to rest. Afterward, I brought the rest of the food up to my room, so Genevieve and I could have dinner together. But when I opened the door, my heart fell at the sight before me. My mate was on the bed crying. I placed the tray at the bottom of the bed, then scooped her up in my arms. Baby, what's wrong? I asked. She continued crying even harder. So I brought her to my lap and set her so she was straddling me and laid her head on my chest while I rubbed her back. Her cries soon turned to sobs, then to sniffles. You okay now, babe? I asked. Yeah, she nodded. I was just worried about Rosalind and Alessandro. I mean, what if he doesn't wake up? We'll lose them both. I understand, Jen, and trust me, I'm worried about them too. She's my baby sister, and he's my nephew, so we have to stay strong for the both of them. Because they need us right now, so we can't let them see us falling apart, or they will crumble too, I told her. We ate dinner, then I went to take a much needed shower. When I got back in the room, Genevieve was half asleep. I could tell she was waiting for me. So I quickly got into bed and pulled the covers over us both. I wrapped my arms around her, pulling her flush into my chest, breathing in her wonderful scent. Good night, my love, I told her, falling asleep. I love you, Michael, was the last thing I heard before I fell into darkness.
I sat in my parents' room looking at my dad, who had bandages all over his body. I still can't believe Rosalind was the one who did this to him. He looks like he just came from the World War. All this fighting and arguing is starting to get to me at first. I was glad to see Rosalind again, but if this is the price, then it would have been better if she had stayed where she was. I get that Alessandro was trying to help Izzy, but what if he had injured her more, or worst, killed her? I mean, you don't just go around sticking your claws into people. And that story Rosalind gave about taking away Isabel's pain sounded absurd to me. I've never even heard of such a thing. I was lost in my thoughts. When I heard my mom telling my dad to calm down, I looked in their direction to see my dad trying to get up from the bed. Dad, what are you doing? You need to rest, I said, rushing over to help Mom push him back down. I want that girl and her bastard out of this PAC's territory. By morning Keshaun, he yelled. Calm down, Dad, before you blow a gasket, I replied. Are you crazy? You can't expect him to kick them out. She's his mate, and that boy is their son, my mom scolded. I don't care who they are, I want them out, Dad yelled. Okay, guys, calm down, I said, trying to get them to stop fighting. Dad, I won't kick out Rosalind seeing as Alessandro is still in a coma, but when he wakes up, I'll ask them to leave, because I honestly can't take this fighting and argue anymore. It's driving me nuts. I told them. Dad huffed at my response, but agreed anyway. Keshaun, are you sure you want to do this? Mom asked. Yes, Mom. I'm sure it's what's best for everyone if they go. Even for you? She questioned. Yes, Mom. Especially for me, I replied. She shook her head disapprovingly, then said okay. If that's what you want. After all, you are the alpha, I sighed, as I got up to leave the room, kissing my mom on the forehead and telling her to get some rest. I exited their room and made my way to the office. I was going through some paperwork when Jermaine walked in. I haven't seen him that much since he got back, especially with everything that's been going on. Hey, baby bro, what can I do for you? I asked teasingly. You do realize you're just a year older than me, right? He scoffed. Yeah, but I am still older, I jeered. Whatever, he replied, flipping me off. He sat in the chair in front of my desk, then says, I came to ask you what you were gonna do about the situation we're currently in. I know it was wrong of Rosalind to attack Dad, but he spat in her face after her son tried to help Izzy, which resulted in Alessandro almost dying and is now in a coma. Look, I know Rosalind was emotional when she attacked Dad. I mean, what woman wouldn't be after watching her son flatline? But regardless of that, wrong is still wrong, and I won't tolerate her and Alessandro's violent behavior any longer. I don't even know what happened to the innocent nerd that we used to know. She was never like this, I replied. I've already decided that after Alessandro wakes up and is healthy enough, I will be asking him and Rosalind to leave. I know it sounds harsh, but it has to be done. Besides, Dad won't rest unless they're gone, I say. What? Are you crazy? You can't kick them out. Besides, Michael's wedding is in 2 weeks, he yelled. Have you ever spoken to Michael about this? After all, it is his wedding and she is his sister. I haven't spoken to Michael yet, but I will. Also, it's not like I am banning them from our territory. They can just stay at a hotel or something until the wedding day. And as I said, Dad doesn't want them here, so they have to go. I told him, my mind already made up. I could tell he was upset with my decision, but I won't change my mind, and he knew that. Of course, this is about Dad. It always is. Whatever Dad wants, Dad gets right. And here I thought you were the alpha. Have fun telling Michael you're kicking his sister and nephew out after they saved your sister's life, he said, leaving the office. I knew he thought I was doing this because of Dad, but in fact, I wasn't. Jermaine and our father haven't gotten along since he was 13. When he walked in on our dad making out with one of the Omegas in his office, we soon later found out Dad was cheating on Mom and got someone to give her a potion so she wouldn't feel the effects and find out what he was doing. Their marriage struggled for 2 years until Mom forgave him, and they got back together. However, Jermaine never forgave him for betraying our mother, and he has made it abundantly clear. I continued with my paper, trying to get as much as possible finished before I speak with Michael, because I know that won't go down easy. I sighed, knowing that I might end up losing my beta.